For those of you who don't know me, too bad. Boy, this is gonna be a rocking and roll thing. I'm ready already for tonight's entertainment. So hi, I'm Robin Smail. I'm actually a UX designer at Penn State University. I've been there for a long time. It's higher ed, right? So those of us who can't get a job in the industry muddle into higher ed. And I joke about that, but here's the thing. I love higher ed. It gives me an opportunity to do stuff that I don't necessarily get to do otherwise. I mean, hello, Central Pennsylvania, all right? So we don't have a lot going on. It's not like it's San Francisco. So we do what we can do. I think it's really important to be an advocate for your users, for your people, for your humans that are using the products that we make. I typically do app development. And I wear multiple hats. How many of you are just your job description? Okay, well, I'll take it by the snarky giggles that was totally, completely the expectation that I have, which is nobody. We all have multiple things to do inside and outside of our required job options. So this is my warning to you. This is not a talk about code. You've had to sit here and watch me mess with technology for 10 minutes. I will tell you again, this is not a talk about code. This is a talk about humans. And there are trigger warnings that I'm going to give you. People first. I'm going to be saying that a lot. If that makes you uncomfortable, you may not want to be here. Inclusion. Okay, when we talk about inclusion, when we talk about the things that we do, really it's anything, but let's just go ahead and focus momentarily on higher ed. And the mission of higher ed is to educate and to include as many people as we can, all walks of life, all locations, all languages. We're not going to say, yes, you, definitely not you, and definitely not him. Although I reserve that right later. So inclusion, it's really important. Empathy. How many of you have empathy as a job description? Well, I guess that means we can throw that one out. Yeah. So I'm going to be talking about empathy. It's important. Empathy is trying to understand where other people are coming from. Diversity. That's my last trigger warning. Because when we work in teams that have diversity, when we have diverse teams that are people of different backgrounds, different walks of life, different skill sets, not just me and the guy next to me, and we're like, oh yeah, this is a great team. We're gonna cover everything that we want to cover, right? Okay, cool, check. But there are an awful lot of people out there besides the two of us. So we need to get inclusive. In order to do that, we need to collaborate in teams. Your teams need to be diverse. Well, I hate to tell you, this is not part of my job description. I see that one a lot, right? And that's true. Again, we've already talked about it. Diversity may not be in your diversity may not be in your job description. Accessibility may not be in your job description. So all of you who say, yep, you're right, I say to you, actually, it is. It's in that line where, I don't know if you're higher ed, so I don't know if you have it, but I have one that says other duties as assigned. Yeah? Yeah, this is one of your other duties as assigned. Okay? So let's talk about, it's really easy for me to say, hey, everybody's responsible for accessibility. And it is, unless you're Microsoft, unless you're Adobe, and you have your accessibility evangelists, and that's their sole mission is to help you understand, get the word out about accessibility. I don't know about you, but Penn State doesn't pay me the big bucks to talk about accessibility everywhere. I have to do that with all the other things that I'm supposed to do. So let's put it into 3 groups, okay? Let's talk about design. How is this product going to create a great user experience for all of us, okay? That's the biggest thing that we're talking about when we're talking about design and designers. So that will include the UX, the web design, things like information architecture, things like interaction design, information design, graphic design, even the content strategy, believe it or not, because that actually talks about, and that's what we use when we're designing. We see what the content strategy is, and we build on that. The second group are content people. Address what does your product say and how does it say it. So they're the ones that work on everything that you dump in, right? They're the ones that you see running around saying, yeah, I keep talking to professors and they promise they're going to get back to me with their content and their stories. And I know that the multimedia people are going to come back with images sooner or later, hopefully sooner. So text, images, audio, video, all the information that you're actually putting into that site. That's what we're going to classify as content people. Nope. Third one is development and developers. So how is the product built? That's everything that you don't see, right? That's all the, how many of you are developers? Okay, I should have asked this before. So we've got, I'd say, 2/3 of the room. How many of you are content people? Excellent. I also saw some hands go up. Same hands. Yeah, you thought that I didn't notice that, but I had my coffee too. Thank you very much. How many of you are designers? Hey, solidarity. I'm glad you're here. So all 3 groups are very important in trying to get our products online. They're also very important when we're talking about accessibility. How many of you have had to retrofit your product for accessibility? Raise them high. Not everybody. Wow. People who haven't had to retrofit your site, can I ask, can you offer me why? Are you new? Sorry?
Have you not gotten sued yet?
Yeah, have you not gotten sued yet? I mean, these are important things. And this is true. You know, Lacey brings up an excellent point. At Penn State, we were hit a number of years ago with a suit from National Federation for the Blind because our content was not accessible for a student that needed it in a timely manner. And you know, I have a really hard time saying that's wrong, right? I mean, I've been on that back end where they're talking about, let's get it in, and then if somebody needs it, then we'll work on it, and then we'll deal with it. I've been there. I mean, anybody who hasn't felt the stress of opening week of fall semester or spring semester, well, then you just haven't lived, ladies and gentlemen. You are not on the front lines. And it's a mess. And it's super easy at that point to say, hey, look, we need to get stuff out there, and we'll get the bulk of it out there, and then if we have to backtrack, we'll go back and we'll retrofit. But people, let me tell you, that's awful. Anybody in here who's had to retrofit will tell you that it's a lot of extra work. You're going back through usually somebody else's code. That's fun, isn't it? Yeah. So you're going through somebody else's code. You may not know where to start. And again, I don't know about you, but if your timeline is like mine, it usually has to be done yesterday. And the rest of my work doesn't get put on hold in order to make that happen. If yours does, I have a resume I'd like you to review. So it's important to go there. So I want to talk about real quick, what is accessibility? I would like, yes, this is audience participation time because I have to drink, you need to talk. So somebody tell me, what is accessibility? I won't laugh, I promise. Hey, Curtis.
Yes,
What's accessibility?
just making sure that your website is usable by everybody regardless of ability or ability or device access.
Or whatever.
Yeah,
Dude.
that everybody can use it.
Well, I can sit down now. That's very true. You could have just fixed my computer. Accessible. The ability to be reached or approached. Okay? Able to be used or obtained. Easy to appreciate and understand. Does this sound familiar? This isn't just for the web. I'm sorry, people. If you think accessibility is just for the web, you're sadly mistaken. We just have this block. We're not there. It's like, oh, accessibility, I need an alt tag. Right? Maybe I need a ramp to get up the dang stairs. Maybe I need a door handle, and if anybody has seen me before coffee, they know I have difficulties with door handles. Maybe I need a door handle that actually allows me access to get in so I don't have to pull my wheelchair back, right? Maybe when I broke my leg and I am trying to get from point A to point B, maybe it's requiring that I need more time to get there. Ladies and gentlemen, this is just being accessible. So there are lots and lots of definitions. And when we're talking about specifically web accessibility, we're talking about being an inclusive practice of removing the barriers that will prevent the interactions with your product. That's just like moving the curb, right? And allowing access for a bike. I have lots of other these, but this is the one that I want to show you because it is a full slide. The ADA defines a person with a disability as, and I quote, a person who has a physical or mental impairment that substantially limits one or more major life activities. This includes people who have a record of such an impairment, even if they do not currently have a disability. What? It also includes individuals who do not have a disability but are regarded as having one. Wow, you can tell this was written by lawyers. So here's the thing, and this is what I want you to understand, is that accessibility means different things to different people. If you're coming at it from a background of law, you might want to write it this way. If you're coming from a background of architecture, you may want to write it another way. But the bottom line is this. You are making your work accessible to anybody who wants to get there. This is my, oh my God, this is overwhelming slide. You're welcome, because that's how I feel regularly. So when we say accessible, nobody gets to see my slides. Well then, see, look at that, not accessible. How interesting is that?
There's that white text on the front back.
It is. It's dang. How the heck did that work? All right. So let me just read those slides. The ones that are here that apparently are invisible. So when we say accessible, developers hear more work because we do. We usually have to retrofit, right? Let's read this now because I can't see. Designers here compromise design. Administrators here expensive. And that's true. I get it. I understand. So how do we pull back and how do we eliminate these barriers, right? Well, I hate to tell you, we have to think differently. There's that slide. It's lovely. So who here designs for low vision users? A couple of you? Yeah? Okay. Surprise, people, you're wrong. We all do. Think about that. And while that's a funny slide, the problem is that we don't think about those people because, well, we aren't those people first and foremost, or we don't have to usually deal with people who have that specific problem. I am disabled. It's not the red hair. It's not the loud mouth. However, I am disabled. You have nice, shiny faces, relatively awake. Nobody is sleeping yet. That's great. I cannot see any of you. I can't see your faces. I can't see if you're laughing. I can't see if you're giving me hand gestures. I can't see anything. I need assistive eyewear in order to be able to deal with, well, just about anything. My husband thinks it's funny when I put them down and I can't find them. He's a jerk. And again, to be fair, it's funny because he didn't have to have glasses. It's not so funny when I'm trying to see something and I'm getting really upset because I can't find them. It also isn't funny when my kids moved them, but they're gone now. Karen McCrane said, you know, you don't get to decide which device people use to access the internet. They choose. It's your responsibility to deliver essentially the same experience to them, to deliver a good experience to them with whatever device they choose. So she's talking about mobile here, but I'm telling you what, she could have been talking about accessibility. She could have been talking about anything because quite frankly, it is your job. It is all of our jobs to deliver a good experience, a complete experience to our people who want to know what we have out there. Currently 10% of the total world population, according to disabledworld.com, that's 650 million people live with a disability, right? Having a disability places you in the world's largest minority group. Now, I'm a girl, so I'm already there, but that's weird. You're disabled. You're disabled. Glasses. My husband, he doesn't have glasses, but now he has a hearing aid. Although he can seem to apparently hear me when I say something under my breath. So I'm not exactly giving him full clearance on that one. So really what you have to do is ask yourself, who is your audience? Who are your people? Did you hear my title? My title is a UX designer. If you expand that out, so that's totally unusable, right? I'm a user experience designer. And really, when we talk about users, we're not putting a face to them. I can start talking about personas, I can start talking about this, that, the other, user journey. And what we do is we are defacing the people that are coming to our site, that are using our products. These are people, these are human. You need to think about people. You need to start saying people, humans. I know, it's hard. We can do this together. So there are 3.5 billion people on the internet today. That is a ton of change. You can't see the rest of that. That is awesome. I want to talk about, how very different are their experiences from each other. They are using low-end phones, using tablets. They're using high-end laptops. They are accessing from college. They are accessing from cafe. They are old. They are unable to see what you're talking about. They are English as a second language. So they're not in your native language. All of these people are trying to get to the product that you have put a lot of effort into. The only thing that they really have in common is that they're all trying to access the internet. It is the single largest source of human information ever assembled. My question is, what challenges are you putting in their paths? Consciously or unconsciously? How many of you have I'm going to start asking questions and I'm not going to judge you. I can't talk about other people, but I'm not going to judge you. Curtis? So, who has a separate mobile offering for your people?
Take off your glasses so you didn't see a race.
I see you. I hear you. I also understand that that's not your choice, but it's true, right? So you have a separate mobile offering. Yeah, I know. I get that. How many of you, I'm just trying to think of how I can say this because they're live streaming me. So, I guess my point is this. Let's talk about some of the things that we can get into. Let me give you some specifics, okay? Because I want to talk about this last slide that you didn't see is, does your site survive a person who zooms in 500%? Okay, I can't look at you all the time because remember I lost a lot of time at the beginning. So yes, no, I have no clue, Robin, because I'm not stupid enough to try and bump my site up to 500%. That is a very frequent thing that happens to people, bless you, who can't see. They have low vision problems, right? That's not blind. That's low vision. Are you putting barriers in their path when they try to bump that up that they can't actually see your site? What about people who eliminate images? They turn those babies off. How many of you, I'm going to leave Jeff out of this, how many of you have images of charts, tables, graphs? It's okay. There is no shame here, people, except for this one. Yeah, right? Do you have an option for those people to be able to access that information? I have one head nod. I have two head nods. Okay, so there's stuff rattling around in there. Good, because people turn that off. So if you use stuff that is integral to your message, realize they may not see it. Let's talk about, let me give you a couple of examples and we're going to just zoom. So let's talk about colorblind. How many people of you are colorblind in here? There should be at least one. There's two. Right, okay. So tell me if, no, it's okay. We'll be fine. So this is a kingfisher. This is what it's supposed to look like to people who, well, can see it. But if you have problems with red and green color blindness, that could be deuteranopia, which of course I totally slaughtered, but you don't know, so it's fine. But red and green, I can't see it. Okay, what about protanopia? Same thing, red and green color blindness. Let's talk about trinopia. This one is blue-yellow color blindness, right? And if you're really lucky, monochromacy, yeah, you can only see basically black and white. Okay, now how many of you are using color as, it's okay, you know what, dude? We'll have beer because I have stories. And the thing is, here it is, people, we didn't catch it when we were doing it. We just did it because we were designing, because that's what we were told to do. And we never saw it. Okay? So this is an interesting tweet from Wax Pancake. And he says, being colorblind sucks. This looks just like an ordinary leaf to me. Right? And this is off of Reddit, mildly interesting. And so you're seeing, if you are not colorblind, you're seeing a half red, half green leaf. He's seeing a completely green leaf. Curtis can testify. That's a total, yeah, see, you're why my other slides don't show up. I knew there was something. Okay, so fine. So if you're using color, you may be keeping some of your people out. Here's the kingfisher again. Recognize him? People don't always suffer, people who have vision difficulties don't always suffer from color blindness. Okay, here's a kingfisher again. This is what macular degeneration does to your vision. It puts a big black spot right where you're looking. Tell me that's helpful. Glaucoma does a reverse, right? So it starts to darken on the outsides in. How many of you are putting too much information on the edges, on the corners of your site that they can't really see, that it's easy for them to miss? Diabetic retinopathy. Oh, I knew it. You know, that was the easiest one. Retinopathy. All right, again, blind spots where they can't see. Are you actually helping them, or are you making things difficult for them? So, we're going to go fast, ladies and gentlemen. I want your right hand up. I want you to make a really small circle. And if you can't tell, the slide shows you how to do it. All right, and I want you to put it up to whichever eye you feel like you really want. All right, now, I want you to look at this. This is a form. Can you read it? Can you answer it? I have some nervous chuckles, but I don't have people that are going, yeah, Robin, you're an idiot. What's the problem? Okay? There's a reason that I'm asking you that. Because again, what happens if people who have low vision, what if they actually bump up their visuals, so they're looking at it 500% magnified, you can't even see the responses. You can't even see the button that says go back, that says go forward, that says what the heck am I doing here? You can't see it, right? So there's a reason here that we do things such as proximity, right? We leave things together like this. Now, if you put this is called the straw test. If you put your straw back up, now you can start to see, and I'll show you even on a bigger one. Now you can start to see, are you a U.S. citizen? Oh, the answer is yes or no. I got it. Have you ever been denied entry to the U.S.? Actually, I have. We should move on. Well then, okay, yeah, that's not awkward at all. So again, I want you to keep in mind, these are things that everybody has problems with. Auditory, there's a reason that you shouldn't be, you shouldn't, as soon as somebody gets on your site, you shouldn't have a little stupid music playing, because that ends up in a laptop going through a window, and you don't want to be responsible for that. You know, people with a motor impairment, typically they use a wide range of assistive technology. If you had one thing to do, designing and developing for efficient keyboard use is one of the most significant changes you can make for accessibility. That is a gem from Gary Featherstone, who is also, might I add, a gem. How many of you have ever tabbed through your site, tabbed through a page? Ladies and gentlemen, that is only half of you. You find out really quick, if that isn't ordered in a logical order, you get lost. How many of you have listened to a screen reader? That is not even half of you. If you don't have something in order, if you're not using headers correctly, if you don't have an actually legitimately well-defined structured page, you are doing not only yourself a disservice, you are doing your people a disservice. Yep, 10 minutes. I know. All right, so If I have to tell you about things, keyboard. Make sure that they can keyboard through your site. If I have to tell you about color, don't use color as a guide alone. You can use color, but add to it, right? Cognitive is huge. It wasn't what they necessarily talked about standard, and it is so easy to miss this one. All right, who has experience with someone who has ADD? I think I have. I'm just undiagnosed because what gave it away? My point is when you start, and I work in academia. All right, so everybody in this room probably understands where I'm going. When other people write content for the web and they submit it to me and it may be a little on the long side with big words, this is not an easy thing for anybody to read. I don't care if you have ADD. I don't care if you have 20/20 vision. This is difficult, people. All right, let me show you. I want you to look at this. Don't read it out loud. I don't want to hear you. But I want you to read this on the screen. And I give you 30 seconds. Nope, I only give you 15 seconds. That is the most bizarre gibberish if you've never seen it before. It's like, I don't even understand. What the heck is this? Oh my God, do you have a point, woman? I do. Because people who have to deal with your crappy content see that as opposed to this. Now, had you actually read it out loud? Now go back. Now, read it out loud. And now you see it, right? Now you get it. But you didn't get it before. And that's part of the problem. So again, we're going to jump. Creating great experiences for a particular subset of our users, people with disabilities, results in better designs for everyone. That should not be rocket science. It should not be rocket science. If you had to do something regarding your content, your text on your site, eliminate all the unnecessary words. Get rid of them. Because you know what? It's a lot easier to read at a level of 7 or 8 than it is of a reading level of a 23. What the heck is a reading level of 23? I don't even know. There's no 23rd grade unless you're getting a PhD, and that might explain it. But seriously, get rid of the words. Focus on the ease of understanding, because plain language makes your content easier for everyone. I know. Everybody's, okay, are you almost done yet? Because really, these are super simple. Everybody could see this. I didn't have to sit in here and listen to you. No, you didn't. If you have this down on your site, I don't know what you're doing here. If you have everything set up so that people can access your site, you've gone through words, you've gone through text in order to lighten it up, to make it easy for people to read and to understand. If your code is perfect, it is perfectly well structured. This is great. If all of your graphics are optimized, that also helps. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen? It doesn't hurt to think about the people that are still accessing it because they're human. And I will leave you with this. We haven't even talked about emotional content, right? 2 years ago, my 24-year-old came back. He was a airborne officer, and not officer. God, kill me if I said that. But he was airborne with his Ranger tab, and he came back because he went to school. He went to take care of the GI Bill, and took advantage of the GI Bill. On the first day that he was biking to school, he got hit by an SUV. And if you don't think that when I heard that my kid was being rushed to the head trauma that was center that was 80 miles away and that I was doing 90, then you are fooling yourself. Yeah, I was insane. I couldn't think. I'll tell you, that gorilla section of my brain, that lizard brain, just took over. I got to the hospital. I couldn't find parking. I had to use the parking deck. I got to the parking deck. They didn't have a damn sign to the trauma center. What the hell, people? And I'm almost crying at this point in time. I'm angry. I'm upset. I'm not thinking. I am in what we call a stress case. It's not an edge case. Don't call it an edge case, because that means that you have just drawn a line, as Eric Meyer says, you've now drawn a line where you are willing not to go beyond. So for people who think that accessibility sucks, let me tell you, there is nobody that doesn't think it more than the people who need it. It is a powerful thing. It is a powerful gift that you have in your hands to be able to give that to other people. Tell them, I see you. I understand you need access. And you know what? I'm going to give it to you before you have to help, before you have to ask for it, before it comes down to a point that you are driving like Eric Myers was, and his wife was trying to find, they're driving 80 miles an hour trying to get to a hospital, and they can't find the phone number on the hospital website. People, you may not think that this is relevant to you. And I am here to tell you that it is relevant to every single goddamn person here. People who are listening, people who are out there, people who can't access your stuff, people who have a real need. Maybe everything is different, right? Everybody's needs are different. We're not always emotional. Sometimes we're just weird. But you have the power here to make it important that people understand what's going on. So think human, I beg you. Start where it makes sense. Start doing some guerrilla testing. Start going through and working at it. Even if you just work at it 4 hours a month, that is better than what you have now. This is, I'm not even going there. Let's say this. I have on here a toolbox that it's off of my site. And you have the slides, you'll have the link. It's a whole bunch of places for you to look at that says, okay, where do I start? Where are the tools? What can I do? How do I start? I'm confused. This is hard. I know, people. It's very hard. But it's not hard for you like it is for the people who are being blocked because they don't have access. 1 minute late. Booyah! Thank you very much. I know there are questions, maybe not be questions, maybe just somebody hand me coffee. But if you have anything, you should be able to find me.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Robin. Thank you to those on the live stream. We will see you guys again in 15 minutes for the next presentation.